It was a crisp autumn morning, and I was in the midst of my usual routine, sipping coffee that was strong enough to wake the dead and trying to remember where I left my shoes. The Galactic Exchange Program had been in the works for years, a pet project of both the United Earth government and the Intergalactic Federation. The idea was simple: host alien students on Earth, exchange cultural insights, foster peace, yada yada. You know, the usual diplomatic spiel. I had, in a moment of coffee-deprived insanity, volunteered to be a host. I had barely finished half my cup when a shimmering portal opened in my living room, right where my TV used to be. A bureaucratic mishap, apparently. Something about maximizing convenience for interspecies integration. Sure, because nothing says convenience like replacing your entertainment system with a wormhole. 3 figures emerged, blinking in the soft light of my IKEA lamp. First was Blorg, a gelatinous being from the planet Zilur. Blorg's species communicated through color changes and undulating movements, resembling a lava lamp from a bad 70s movie. Next was Xanthe, a tall, willowy creature with a translucent skin and eyes that glowed like Christmas lights. Xanthe hailed from Realtor, a planet known for its advanced technology and disdain for sarcasm. Lastly, there was Krrk'k, a bipedal reptilian from Draconis IV, complete with scales, claws, and an apparent love for heavy metal music. "Welcome to Earth," I said, attempting a smile. "I'm Alex, your host." Blorg rippled with shades of green and blue, which I hope translated to, "Pleased to meet you." Xanthe's eyes flickered in a rapid sequence that my translator app suggested was a greeting. Krrk'k just nodded, his scales making a soft rustling sound. The following morning, I was rudely awakened by a loud crash from the kitchen. Groggy and still in my pajamas, I stumbled downstairs to find Krrk'k holding a frying pan, staring at it as if it were some ancient relic. "Good morning," I said, rubbing my eyes. "What's going on here?" "I was attempting to prepare sustenance," Krrk'k replied, his voice a gravelly rumble. "Your culinary devices are confusing." I glanced around. There were eggshells scattered everywhere, and a pool of what I assumed was pancake batter oozing across the counter. Xanthe was at the table, meticulously examining a box of cereal, while Blorg had somehow managed to envelop the coffee maker, his form bubbling with what I hoped was curiosity. "Okay, let's take this one step at a time," I said, taking the pan from Krrk'k. "Humans have a very specific way of preparing breakfast. Watch and learn." As I demonstrated the fine art of making scrambled eggs and toast, my alien guests watched with rapt attention. Blorg rippled with what I could only interpret as excitement, while Xanthe took detailed notes on his tablet. Krrk'k seemed less impressed, but he grunted in approval when he tasted the finished product. By day 3, the novelty of having aliens in my house had worn off. Blorg had already assimilated my entire music collection, his gelatinous form jiggling in time to every genre from classical to punk rock. Xanthe was fascinated by human cuisine, though the concept of spicy was apparently foreign to Realtorians. Watching him turn various shades of red after biting into a jalapeno was mildly entertaining. Krrk'k, on the other hand, had taken over my garage, converting it into a makeshift workshop for building a better electric guitar. "Alex," Xanthe said, "I have been analyzing your internet. It is vast." "That's one word for it," I replied, sipping my coffee. "Any particular section catch your interest?" "The part about cats? Why do you worship them?" I nearly spit out my coffee. "We don't worship cats, we just really, really like them." Xanthe's eyes flickered in confusion. "But there are countless images and videos dedicated to them. They must hold some significant cultural or religious importance." "Yeah, they're important, all right. Important to our sanity," I muttered. "They're just cute and funny. It's a human thing." Blorg jiggled in agreement, or at least I thought he did. It was hard to tell with all the rippling. One of the first real tests of my patience came on day 4, when I decided to take my alien guests to the grocery store. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Get them out of the house, show them more of human culture, maybe teach them about the concept of budgeting. It was a disaster. Blorg was fascinated by the produce section, absorbing information about each fruit and vegetable through some sort of osmosis. This, unfortunately, led to a lot of squished produce. The store manager was not amused. Xanthe, on the other hand, found the variety of packaged foods bewildering. He spent an inordinate amount of time reading the labels on every single item, his glowing eyes flickering rapidly as he tried to understand ingredients like monosodium glutamate and high fructose corn syrup. Krrk'k, however, discovered the bakery section and promptly started a debate with the baker about the superiority of Draconis 4's firebread over Earth's humble baguette. This ended with Krrk'k trying to bake his own firebread in the store's oven, resulting in a small fire and a lot of angry glares. By the time we left, I had a headache, a cart full of groceries, and a newfound appreciation for online shopping. With yesterday's debacle, I decided today was a good day to stay in. Today, we're going to experience human entertainment, I announced, holding up a stack of DVDs. Prepare to have your minds blown. We started with a classic, Star Wars. I figured it was a good introduction to human storytelling, plus it had space battles, which I assumed would be a hit. Blorg, naturally, loved it. He turned a dazzling array of colors during the lightsaber duels and practically quivered with excitement during the Death Star trench run. Xanthe, ever the critic, had a million questions about the physics of it all, while Krrk'k just appreciated the fight scenes. "This is an impressive cultural artifact," Xanthe said, his eyes flickering. "But why does everyone speak the same language?" "Suspension of disbelief," I explained. "It's a storytelling tool. Just go with it." Next, we moved on to sitcoms. I introduced them to Friends, which was a mixed bag. Blorg found the laugh track confusing and kept changing colors in sync with the laughter, which was both hilarious and slightly unsettling. Xanthe couldn't understand the concept of sarcasm, leading to a lot of awkward explanations, and Krrk'k simply couldn't grasp why people would spend so much time in a coffee shop without ever drinking coffee. By the end of the day, I was exhausted, but my guests seemed to have a new appreciation for human creativity. Or at least that's what I told myself as I collapsed into bed. A week into the program, I decided it was time for another field trip. Where better to show off human achievements than the local museum? The museum visit started well enough. Xanthe was fascinated by the exhibits on ancient civilizations, while Blorg was particularly taken with the interactive displays. Krrk'k, however, found the lack of weapons in the art section disappointing. "These humans," Krrk'k grumbled, staring at a sculpture. "They make such beautiful things but neglect practical applications." "It's called art, Krrk'k," I explained. "Not everything has to be useful." He snorted, clearly unimpressed. "On Draconis 4, we believe beauty and functionality must coexist." Blorg, meanwhile, had found his way to the dinosaur exhibit and was rapidly absorbing information about Earth's prehistoric past. "Your planet has seen many fascinating creatures," he said, his form shifting to a curious blue. "But why did they all die?" "Asteroid, climate change, various theories," I replied. "It's a mystery we're still trying to fully understand." Xanthe, having finished with the ancient artifacts, joined us at the dinosaur exhibit. "Your species has a remarkable ability to uncover and learn from the past," he said. "It is both impressive and humbling." I couldn't help but feel a swell of pride. Sure, we had our flaws, but humans had achieved some pretty amazing things. One of the objectives of the Galactic Exchange Program was for alien students to experience human life and for us to learn from them. What I didn't expect was just how much I would learn. Blorg's species, for instance, had an uncanny ability to absorb and store information. He had already read through my entire library by osmosis. One evening he approached me, or rather, slid toward me. "Alex," Blorg said, his form pulsating, "your species has a remarkable history, but I am confused by your many conflicts. Why do you fight each other so often?" I sighed. "That's a complicated question, Blorg. Humans have a tendency to disagree about a lot of things. Resources, beliefs, power. Sometimes it's hard to explain even to ourselves." Blorg's colors shifted to a contemplative purple. "On Ziller, we resolve conflicts through dance."
Dance?
"Yes, the one who dances best wins the argument." I couldn't help but laugh. That sounds interesting. Might be worth a try here. Xanthe, meanwhile, was fascinated by human technology, particularly our primitive space travel methods. One night, as we were watching a documentary on the Apollo missions, he turned to me. "Alex, why do you use such inefficient means to explore space? Your rockets are slow and dangerous." "Well, it's the best we've got for now. We're working on better methods, but these things take time." Xanthe's eyes glowed softly. I could help. Realtor has much more advanced propulsion technology, Perhaps I could share some designs. I stared at him. That would be incredible. But isn't there some kind of intergalactic law against that? There are ways around such regulations, Xanthe replied, his eyes twinkling mischievously. Hosting aliens wasn't just about technology and knowledge, it was about sharing cultures. One evening, I decided to introduce my guests to a quintessential human experience, a barbecue. Welcome to the great American tradition of grilling, I announced, flipping burgers with more confidence than skill. Blorg was already pulsating with excitement, his form vibrating to the beat of the music playing in the background. Xanthe observed with clinical interest, while Krrk'k seemed more interested in the heavy metal music blasting from his portable speaker. Meat, cooked over an open flame, Xanthe mused. Primitive, yet intriguing. It's about the experience, I explained. Friends, family, good food. It's more than just eating, it's a social event. Blorg extended a pseudopod to sample the first burger. He turned a deep, satisfied green. Delicious. Krrk'k, meanwhile, had taken to human cuisine with surprising enthusiasm. He particularly enjoyed spicy foods, much to Xanthe's dismay. Watching the two of them engage in a friendly pepper-eating contest was a highlight of the evening. As the night wore on, we sat around a fire pit, sharing stories. Blorg recounted tales from Ziller, where disputes were settled through elaborate dance battles. Xanthe shared myths from Realtor, stories of technological gods and ancient explorers. Krrk'k regaled us with legends from Draconis IV, tales of great warriors and epic battles. It was in these moments that I realized the true value of the Galactic Exchange Program. It wasn't about the technology or the knowledge. It was about the connections we made, the understanding we built. As the end of the program drew near, I found myself growing attached to my alien guests. Strange as they were, they had become a part of my daily life. On their last night, we gathered once more around the fire pit. Alex, Blorg said, his form shifting to a soft blue, we have learned much from you. Your species is complex, but there is much potential here. Thanks, Blorg. I've learned a lot from you guys too, more than I ever expected. Xanthe nodded, his eyes glowing warmly. Your technology may be primitive, but your spirit is strong. I will miss our discussions. Krrk'k simply handed me a small, intricately carved token, a gift from Draconis IV, for friendship. I accepted the token, feeling a lump in my throat. Thanks, Krrk'k. I'll treasure it. As the portal opened once more in my living room, I watched them step through, one by one. Blorg, with his ever-shifting colors, Xanthe, with his glowing eyes and endless curiosity, Krrk'k, with his scales and love for heavy metal. When the portal closed, I found myself standing in the now quiet living room, a sense of emptiness settling over me. The house felt too quiet, too empty. I sat down, staring at the spot where the portal had been. Hosting alien students had been a whirlwind of challenges, discoveries, and cultural exchanges. But in the end, it was the friendships that mattered most. I had made friends across the galaxy, and that was something no human could ever say before. As I reached for my now cold coffee, I couldn't help but smile. The Galactic Exchange Program had been more than just an experiment. It had been an adventure. And who knew what the future would hold? Maybe one day I'd find myself stepping through a portal, visiting Blorg on Ziller, or exploring the technological marvels of Realtor, or rocking out with Krrk'k on Draconis IV. The possibilities were endless, and that, I realized, was the true magic of the Galactic Exchange Program. Weeks had passed since my alien friends left, and life had settled back into its usual rhythm. But the experience had changed me in ways I hadn't anticipated. I found myself more curious, more open to new experiences, and with a newfound appreciation for the diversity of life in the universe. One evening, as I was sorting through the mail, I found a small holographic postcard. It was from Xanthe, sent from Realtor. The message was brief but heartfelt. Alex, thank you for the hospitality. Earth is a remarkable place, and so are its people. Until we meet again. Xanthe. I smiled, placing the postcard on the fridge. It was a reminder that no matter how vast the universe, true friendships could bridge any distance. The Galactic Exchange Program had been a success, not just in terms of cultural exchange, but in creating lasting bonds. And who knew? Maybe one day humanity would take its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as friends. As I sat down with a fresh cup of coffee, I couldn't help but look forward to that future. A future where the stars were not just distant points of light, but places where friends awaited. And with that thought, I raised my cup in a silent toast to Blorg, Xanthe, Krrk'k, and the countless others who would come after them. Here's to the Galactic Exchange Program and the adventures yet to come.